Hi, everybody. I am so excited to welcome Collette Reid, our delightful oracle goddess who predicted me to my husband a couple years before we met. So I really believe in the power of her uh, infinite wisdom and intuition. And today we're going to be talking intuition and giving you all some lessons in intuition and some practices for the intuition box, which I am thrilled about. And I'm sorry you couldn't be here in person, Collette.
Oh, me too. But as soon as all of this shamuzzle has completed its cycle, Mark and I are going to be heading down to hang out with you and Gerard.
Yay, I'm so excited. So I first want to just talk about your tea because you don't have it yet, but you were the one who gave me what you wanted, and I can't wait. I think I hit it out of the park for you. Okay, so this is Epiphany, which
Oh,
is the perfect, it's the second of our chakra series, and it's the sixth chakra. But Collette says it's the first, and she's going to tell you why today. Not second sight, first sight. Anyway, we'll get into it.
yes, as the first sense as opposed to the sixth sense, but
Yeah,
it is the sixth
yeah.
energy sphere
But
chakra.
it's
Yes.
such a, I loved when you said it's the first sense. It makes sense,
Yeah.
right? So Epiphany is, Colette loved a blackcurrant tea from an a UK company. So I went to town because I'm a more is more girl, and I found not only organic black currants, which I use in a lot of our blends because they're very high in antioxidants, double that of uh, uh, well, four times out of oranges even. And then I added elderberry for immunity, blackberry, blackberry leaves, red currants, and all sorts of fruit extracts. It is so bold and so beautiful. And I blended all those berries into it with pu'er, which is a very rich and delicious probiotic black tea that really, it's actually been used as an antidepressant in Asia.
Oh,
So I find that my intuition is brighter and happier when I'm a little bit more joyful and a little bit more up. So I really blended this as something that will help the digestion because your intestinal tract is where 80 to 90% of your serotonin and your happy hormones are actually produced for the brain. And I noticed that happier I am or the more joyful I am, the easier it is for me to trust and tap into my intuition.
hmm.
And when I'm bummed out or feeling low on myself, I usually then am in mistrust. So anyway, so
I
I'm
have
going
a
to do a
lot,
couple.
and I have a lot to say about that you brought that up.
Oh, good. Well, let's talk and then we'll go into
Yeah.
the practices. I'm going to pour this in.
So you made a really good point. And just to break down, I've been working as an intuition expert really for the past 33 years. And I've been involved in divination and other intuitive development practices. And I really do believe that intuitive intelligence is something that we need now more than ever. And to Gina's point, uh, when we are, she says, bummed out, but when we're in stress and when we are responding or identifying or finding our way only by looking at outer conditions, what happens is we decenter. So we're no longer centered in our soul self or our really immortal self, which came first, right? We took on a human form. That's why I say intuition is our first sense. It's the first navigational sense of our spirit. So when we decenter and we go into the outer world to center ourself, then we lose touch because what happens is we get into instinct only. And why I say that is people get them mixed up. Instinct is really about survival. So when we get into the survival mode, we are no longer capable of tuning into the subtleties of of the navigation of the soul because we're in a battle. We are looking for perceived threats. That's the only reason we were there. Okay, what's going to happen? Oh my God, that happened. Oh boy, I better talk about this. And oh my God. And so that gets the bummed out. It actually does take away the serotonin and all the good qualities, the good feelings that we have with these other chemicals that we only can get when we're in bliss, trust, hope, faith, and neutrality. So So that this is why when you said that, I was so happy. I say that intuition is our first sense because we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And if you look at the way, um, and I think many of us have been sort of misguided because if we look at early religion, for example, I was certainly raised as a Christian. And I remember sitting in a church and seeing that, there was a halo. And then when somebody died, they would leave their body and go up there or go down there, right? You were listening to harp
Yeah, the
music,
same upbringing. Yeah.
right? Or heavy metal music. No offense. But with the guys with the horns. So here's the thing. That is not necessarily true. As a medium, I understand the sense of cyclical immortality that occurs because I have connected. I spent many years legitimately connecting. I still don't know where everybody goes, but I know that their consciousness is very much available doing mediumship. So, and I'll summarize this in a second, but, if you can consider this, that the spirit of the soul individuates through us. So all of a sudden it knows it's going to take, oh, look at that. That's cool. That's so neat, that light. So you're going to take on a form, a human form. So you take on the form, but imagine that the soul or the spirit self stewards the form from the time we're a baby. Imagine that it holds us and it keeps holding us and holding us and holding us until it can't anymore, right? Because the body has a limit. It has a time stamp on it. And then the spirit continues. Right. So it's always primary. So spirit is our primary reality. It is not the secondary reality. It's like our spirituality is inherent. It is our natural state. It's not something we have to go learn. Well, actually, in a way it does, because we're not really totally taught what it actually means.
Well, we're
There
taught
is,
away from it, I think.
yeah, yeah, or our, yeah, or yeah, I don't want to get into too much
Oh yeah, no, of course.
about that. No, because really I want to just sort of, because each of us have been taught different things, right? So we
Yeah.
can't say that all people haven't been taught the correct thing. There's no such thing as that. I guess it unifies us because nothing separates us then, not the color of our skin, not where we were born, not the land we have been raised on, nothing. When the soul is present, it is unified with others, with spirit, with great I am, etc. But we have atrophied. It's a muscle, the memory muscle. We all have the memory. Like everybody knows, like for real. Like you don't have to you're not totally deaf, dumb, and blind to this. We feel this, but we have atrophied because really for the past, I think, I don't know, a few hundred years, ever since the age of reason and the separation of church and state, as well as this Newtonian physics or science that is materialism, then everything got separated. So now we're actually in the most amazing time that we're changing that. And one last thing I want to say before we talk more, but epiphany. Okay. So right now, so this is coming out in February, right? The tea. Okay. So Aquarius, the planet Uranus, is all about epiphanies. Right. It's just, we didn't plan that. We just love the name. I always say that, once you start to really develop your intuition and the intuitive intelligence that you have available to you, you're always going to have epiphanies. It's going to be one after the other. And that is so perfect because we are in this time. There's so much Aquarian energy happening right now. I know I like to say, oh, we just entered the age of Aquarius, but actually we entered it quite some time ago. But the point is it's really in front of us. And the epiphany is about ideas, innovation, the humanitarianism. It's this sense of like awakening to what is beauty, right? It's not about truth so much as it is the epiphany of unity, because epiphany is a connection. It's a connection to the divine. Anyway,
I
that's
love
enough
it.
for
I
me.
love it. No, it's amazing. And everything that you were saying too is, the astrology in the January box, we talked about the astrology of not only now, but of the next 10 years. And
Yeah.
it really is a revolution of the self and reflected in, systems and humanity. And so once the Aquarius gets a hold of something, it makes it all about, humanity and a greater mission. And I love that we're talking about unity and epiphany and following that natural intuitive sense that can guide us to what is truth in a time when people are saying that's not true, that's not true, that's not true.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have felt a little bit rudderless and confused. And so now's the time. It's like, what's true for you internally in your heart and in your essence. And that's in my experience of my intuitions, they always come as a flash. They always
Mhm.
guide me into the next step. And I always just, my prayer is, please, please God, just show me how to serve. And then I'll see a flash of something. And the other day I walked out of a store and handed a gift card to somebody who was just having a hard time. And I just exchanged something and I handed them the gift card and I was like, it looks like you might need this. And like, she just burst out into tears. And so those are those flashes of intuition where thank God they don't make sense, but they make all the sense in the world energetically, right?
You just said my favorite prayer because it is, I always say, thy will be done through me.
Mhm.
Relieve me of the bondage of self so that I may better
Oh,
do thy will. And it's just show me how to serve, show me for the highest good. And right. And because it's true, it's very simple. It's nothing, we don't have to get too complicated about this. It's just very true. And I love that you said that about the truth concept, because part of what's, and I love that you talked about the 10 years in your last box with that fabulous astrologer, teacher, coach, whatever. And now we look to the a different navigational map, a different GPS. Because if we just use our intellect and then we're still in the instinct, we're strictly looking to defend ourselves or be on the offensive. So
mm,
it's so the othering, the concept of me against you, the othering of each other. And that was really um, highlighted in 2020, something that had been there for many years, especially in America, 400 years.
yeah.
And we are starting to look at the need for social justice, issues around anti-racism.
Mm,
Also, we can look at environmentalism. There's a lot of things that have been very big in the highlights if
mhm,
we are going to live in a more equitable society. And
mhm.
not just in America, I'm in Canada, so it's everywhere. So it's really everywhere. We want to elevate everyone. And that's the concept of the humanitarian. It's not so much charity as it is elevation,
Absolutely.
right? Is a difference, right? I feel about compassionate prosperity is a way to help reduce other people's suffering, but it isn't top down, it's shared sideways,
Well, and
right?
that's the sharing, the mission and magic hours to connect the world through tea. Because just to serve someone a cup of tea is revolutionary. There's so much that comes from it. And what I love too about your teachings and your oracle cards, and we sell so many of these in our tea.
I'm so happy.
Oh my gosh, no, we only have 4 decks of these left, and we
Oh
just
yeah, those
like
that's my
200.
teaching deck.
Oh, I know. This is honestly, I use this almost every single day, and I
Me
just love
too.
your supportive. And then this is the upgrade for this box. We ordered a couple hundred of these decks. We'll probably have to order more, but I love this new deck. So tell us how you
Notice it's a
see.
teacup.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
key
yeah,
teacup on the
I
cover.
know. Well, and your artist actually sent a note one time saying, "It's so crazy. What my art is in your box that I ordered for me, and it's from Colette." And she was like, "What?"
Yeah, she's
but
awesome.
but this because we put a card in your Oracle Dream box. But tell us a little bit about how you came to the energy centers, the chakras, and how you see those, because this is part
Yeah.
of the chakra collection.
So I'll tell you why I didn't name it the Chakra Oracle. How's that? Why don't we go there?
Okay.
I wanted to expand beyond, like for example, the chakras are a very distinct. They have a history, a very venerable history, an ancient history from a culture that I am not. I don't come from.
Mhm.
Although I've studied in depth, etc. But I was always obsessed with the number 7,
Yeah.
right? So I thought, do I want to do the wisdom of the chakras or do I want to go beyond that? Because that's only one system amongst many that use the number 7. There's
Mm,
the 7 Rays by Alice Bailey. She was
yes.
a esoteric teacher.
Yeah.
Right. My
She
father
lives
was,
here in
yeah,
Ohio.
I
Where
know,
yeah.
I know. My dad was the 7th son. He was born a twin. His twin died. He was the 7th son. We have the 7 heavens, 7 deadly sins. There's all sevens, and so it's a lucky 7 at a slot machine. So I've been very conscious of taking it beyond the chakras, although the chakras fit into it. So in
Mhm.
other words, it's like Russian dolls. Like there's different concepts of the seven energies fit in, seven notes of the musical scale, the tetronic scale, C scale. So it's music, it's ideas and things like that. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to call it seven energies instead of seven chakras because
Love
I
that.
want it to be more than that, but they still correspond.
Yeah.
So there's also seven main stories that make up a human life. So, and that is also because I talk about us all being stories in motion. Every single person is a story in motion. And
Mhm.
we tell seven thematic stories. One about spirit, I'll go up. I'll go from top down. One about our relationship to the source of all creation, which is spirit in any way that you describe it. The second, of course, is intuition and the way that we communicate and stay connected and navigate within the invisible realms and bring it to the visible, the
Mhm.
ability to move beyond between worlds. Then we have the fifth, which is our way of communicating and expressing our divinity, right? It's expressing ourselves. And then we have then the throat chakra. Then we have the heart, or I'll call it the energy of the heart.
Mhm.
So the heart is obviously the way we love, and heart is the greatest brain that we have. It's the intelligence that we very rarely listen to.
Yeah.
Then we have our solar plexus, about power, intellect. Then of course, our connection, our intimacy, our boundaries that are sacred, and then of course how we are rooted in the world.
Mhm.
So, these stories that we tell, the categories that we live through are all represented in these seven energies, as well as they are in the seven chakras.
Never heard it explained that way. It's so true. Those are our seven stories,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they're rooted in the chakra system or the energy system of our
Mhm.
being.
Yeah. And it's interesting too that the number seven represents fortune,
Mm.
right? And abundance, because within seven is the number of mysticism too, by the way. So that's another reason why I wanted to go, let me call it seven energies. It's funny because it would have been a lot more popular had I called it the chakra, wisdom of the chakra oracle,
Oh, I
but I
think we
didn't
should just
care. I
leave it
didn't care
there.
because I wanted it to be broader and more and all encompassing rather than only be a teaching tool of the chakras, which that
Oh,
was
no.
not something I wanted to do.
I think you did a perfect job. I
Thank you.
adore this deck. I adore it.
Thank
And
you.
every
It's
time
one of my
I've done
faves.
every time I've done a reading with it, I mean, I didn't think I could get past the wisdom of the oracle. This is always going to be my go-to. It's kind of like my, my basis, but getting into these, it was just like every card I've ever pulled from it, it was such a deep lesson. It felt archetypal,
It is.
more, yeah, very. I always pull this card.
Ah, yes. Yes,
So,
yes, yes.
so
Healing.
let us,
Yeah.
let's do a practice. I know that you had one that I read that you had written down that I thought would be beautiful for today and for our box members.
Okay. And well, I want to break
You
down
do more than one.
three. I'm going
Yeah.
to give you three short ones because it's going to
Oh,
be
good.
something that everybody's going to get benefit from. Because I want to first bust the blocks to your intuition and then teach you how to trust your body. Okay. So the first thing is empathy overload. So many people at this moment in history, we have become overwhelmed emotionally, but by everything that's been going on in the world. We are part of this world. We are stewards of this earth. We are meant to love one another as brothers and sisters, and we have we've had, and up till now, a very distorted relationship with one another, with the world that we inhabit, other creatures, etc. So consequently, for those of us who are sensitive, and there's many people and more, because we are getting upgraded. There's all kinds of stuff that's going on also I was reading all about this upgrade, like energetic upgrade, because we're passing through this thing in the galaxy. I forgot what it's about, but I'll just say,
It's even on NASA's website. So yeah,
right? It is, right? So we're
yeah, it's
actually,
happening. Yeah.
yeah, so our whole system is getting upgraded right now. So our emotional body is getting overamped. So I just want you to ask yourself, if you're feeling overwhelmed, to just say a mantra to yourself: my boundaries are sacred. I
Mm.
send this back to whoever owns it. My boundaries are sacred. I send this back to whoever owns it. And then just ask yourself, is this mine?
Is
Right.
this
And oftentimes, what we are tuned into is a collective angst or a collective fear, especially now. There is all of these, like, if anything is going to happen, they're going to this year in 2021. If you're watching this, maybe next year it'll be different. But when we did this, the planet Uranus and Saturn are going to a big square and having a big dance in the sky. It's not pretty. But it means that there's
at
going to
least there's tea.
Yes, at least there's tea and there's intuition and oracle cards and vision boards and all kinds of stuff. Exactly. So we have to first tone down our emotions. Doesn't mean to bypass them. It needs to discover what is mine, what is truly mine. So we realize, I'm tuning into something greater. I have to bring myself in. So it's a way, it's a way to protect ourselves without disconnecting, right? So we don't disconnect. My boundaries are sacred. Is this mine? And then, so a grounding exercise would be great too with this, is especially when you're developing your intuition, because you are going to be moving up into these areas. You want to get nice and grounded. That was really the second. I want to take care of my emotional body. I want to be grounded on the earth. So you're going to want to put both feet firmly on the ground, preferably without shoes, on a chair, and imagine you drop a golden anchor into the ground. So first say, is this mine? Whatever. Okay, emotionally, I got to bring myself smaller, but I got to ground. So I'm going backwards. So but ground after. Just say, okay, I'm grounded. I'm going to get grounded here. Yep. Now, the next thing is the best way two ways to work with intuitive intelligence is, one, to be blissed. Okay. And we get blissed by getting into gratitude. All right. So we stop identifying with outer conditions. Now, I understand that sounds a little bit like bypassing, but it isn't. We are not saying that doesn't exist, or that's not for me, or I'm not going to do anything about that. We are recognizing this and that can be true at the same time. There can be turmoil and difficulty in the outer conditions, but our inner conditions can be grounded, quiet, sacred, and blissed. And blissed because we're blessed. So I always say, I want to bliss because I'm blessed. So just sit there in complete gratitude for nothing in particular. So that's the next way to get closer to your intuition, because you're not worrying so much about what's going on and what's blah, 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 and like, blah, 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 right? We don't want to be like on patrol looking for threats. We want to be happy, right? And even listen, if Viktor Frankl, who wrote this book, Say Yes to Life, as soon as he came out of a concentration camp, and he wrote the book, A Man in Search of Meaning, if he can do it, we can do it.
Absolutely.
So, right. So we get this sense of, and truly, when you're just grateful, and then I'm going to suggest, even if you think it's fake for a minute, I want you to smile, because what's going to happen? Seriously, you smile.
It changes your brain. Yep.
Right. It trains your brain. Exactly. You can train your subconscious by smiling. And these are simple exercises. And like, you're going to say, why is she telling me this? What's this got to do with intuition? Well, when we are not in distrust, and we're not, like, you can be in pain, you can be suffering, but still actually do this too. Like, you could say, okay, but I got to get my bliss. I got to get connected to spirit. I got to get grateful. I got to get grounded. I got to make my boundaries sacred. I have to be open.
Yep.
So receptivity is the next step. So, and I'm going to tell you, so you can say, okay, what Zhena and I just said, make me a channel for divine intuition. Of myself, I am nothing. Spirit doeth the works. Relieve me of the bondage of self, all my little ego ideas.
I love that line. Oh, I'm so adopting that.
Relieve me of the bondage of self so that I may better do thy will. Help me listen. Right? So then you just stay open. Now, how do you know? This is the thing that everybody asks me. Well, how do you know it's your intuition? Well, okay. So it's rarely going to be a giant long story. It's usually a flash And the thing that happens is that your body identifies it. So your body is actually the point. It's the radio tuner that you're tuning into your intuition. Imagine you've tuned a dial, you're really super awake, and now you're going to get a station sent to you. So here, there's two going on at the same time. One, which is intellect. Intellect is going blah, 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 and it's analyzing everything. Oh, I don't know about that. Oh, this might be good. Oh, no, this. Then you have the reticular activating system of your brain that's sorting all the information. Oh, she doesn't want to look at that. This was right. She knows this, blah, blah, blah. Oh, she's had this before. This is something. But intuition is rarely going to get along with any of that. Okay. Intuition is a flash of insight that happens to you, or it's a push, or it's an out of the blue feeling that you have to go and do something or whatever. And it makes no sense. It has no intellectual value whatsoever, although your intellect does have to make friends with it. And likely it's when you know that you're looking at your GPS and the address you went in there, it is said to turn left, but boy, oh boy, you said, no, I'm going to turn right. And you avoid a big accident because, okay. So how do you hear it? So you can identify intuition versus wishful thinking, because that's where we get into trouble. It's like, oh, I know he loves me. I know he does. It's like, So in comes the intuition, and the body determines that it's just true. It doesn't need to understand it. It's just the truth. So you're going to feel it like a plunk. Very boring. Oh, it's just like this. Oh, right. So if you say something totally true, you're just, and do that right now. So just say something that you know for sure is true.
The sun is out.
Yeah. Okay. Sun is out here too. I can say that too. The sun is out. All right. So, and my name is Collette. I know that to be true. Okay. Let me tell you a lie that I'm going to try and make you believe. Okay. So I am 102 pounds.
Me too.
And my name really is Donna.
Colette's my stage name.
So usually you're not supposed to be laughing like this, but I'll tell you this. So if you lie, if you sit there enough to tell yourself an untrue, you're going to work very hard to make it true. Right? So there's action involved and you get a little high. That's why people who are compulsive liars do it, because they get off on it. There's a high that comes in because you're up like this.
Adrenaline?
It's like adrenaline. It's a little bit, for those of you who have ever done this. Now, I'm a recovering addict, 35 years clean and sober, but it's just like snorting a little Coke, right? It's a sense of like, like, oh, I have some power here, which is false, completely false. So lying is a vibe. Truth is a plunk. Lying is up here and it contracts. It'll contract somewhere. Somewhere you're going to feel it. And it'll be like here, right? That like you'll just go, ugh. Although you'll want it to be true. So when you lie to yourself, for example, you're creating a story. So that's wishful thinking. That's got everything to do with a different part of your brain. Receptive intuition is oh, that's interesting. Oh, huh. I guess it's like these words are just true. So you can actually test yourself and compare the difference between telling the truth and lying. And that's how you tell when intuition is on. It feels like the total truth in your body. There's no action.
Truth is easeful.
Ease, 100%. It's just ease. And then what happens after, as soon as you clock it, it's not easy anymore, because the intellectual side, the analysis paralysis takes over. That can't be right. Why am I thinking that? This isn't true. Oh, what does that mean? I'm supposed to go here. That can't be right. You'll be, is that really right?
Let me tell the work it takes to be honest, to know your truth is not convenient necessarily.
It's not convenient, and it also disrupts the pattern. Intuitive guidance is a pattern disruptor, because it takes you out of the automatic pilot. The subconscious is trained to only look for what you know. Intuition is the only way actually that we can effortlessly change patterns, because it's not about practicing. It's about just knowing. There's claircognizance, which means you just know.
Mhm.
Clairvoyance, you see a glimpse; a clairaudience, you hear something. I know there's other clairs that at this moment I can't even think about, but clairsentience, I feel the feelings.
Yeah.
You know when somebody's lying to you, when they're just so freaking gorgeous and charming and whatever, and you want them to be true, but your little body's going, no. I mean, we all know we know what a red flag is. We just decide not to look at it.
Mhm.
So to practice intuition is to carry a journal and have a cup of tea. So I love to have a cup of Gina's tea. I have a bunch of my favorites, but my favorite is going to be my tea. But I
Well,
loved did you change the name of Lucid Dreaming Tea?
no, lucid dreams, it's still there.
Oh, Lucid Dreams.
Yeah.
But I asked Gina to make me this fruity tea also that would have
Oh,
black tea so I could
girl,
put milk in it.
it's shipping today. I just blended all.
So excited.
It's so bright and bold and you. It's
Yeah,
so
and purple. And
it is. It's all rich
purple.
purple. Yeah, it's so beautiful. Yeah, you're gonna love it.
So have some tea and sit down with yourself and get rigorously honest with yourself and just keep a journal of those moments and then check them. I bet you any money you're a person that have sat there going, I knew it. And that's like, oh, why didn't I say I knew it, but I didn't do it. Right. It's like, it's to trust that, to trust the inconvenient moment where, whoa, this information is coming through to me and it is a gift and we're all born with it. Nobody has more than the other because I mean, I was born to do this professionally because I mean, if you see me make bacon, eggs, and toast at the same time, well, I don't eat bacon, but like to try to make 3 dishes at the same time, I want to cry. I can't do that, but I can talk to dead people. Okay. Gina has 300 people over. I flip out if there's two. Like, I can't, what do I do? There's more than two people here. Right. So, like, certain skill sets just aren't available to everybody. Mine is this. So, I know that this will change your life the more you start trusting and it's a sign, intuition is a sign of your personal, unique relationship with your higher power. And that's
Mhm.
why oracle cards work. So oracle cards they're like going to the intuition gym. So you're exercising your intuition every time you use oracle cards. And then you start to trust that there is a relationship that you have with a larger consciousness that exists in the invisible realms, but that animates every single thing around you. So we take our view away from the material and into the mystical. And yet we start to realize that this is a practical tool that we just need to remember how to use.
Yeah, we talk a lot about practical magic in Magic Hour, and I always say, magic is your intuition. It is your ability to leap the linear timeline to see what else is possible, and then to bring that back into current, present
Yeah.
moment awareness and do something with it. So
Yeah.
we're time traveling, and it's simply the flash, and I always believe it's the divine speaking, but the
Yeah.
flash line to say, when I say a prayer, like, please show me how to serve, and then I get a flash. And if I take action on it, I get more flashes. I get
Yes.
more.
More and more nudges. It's more and more guidance once you've listened to, and that's the other thing. The more you listen, the more you get.
Yes.
And don't mistake this from everything is going to be happy, joyous, and free.
It's not a love and
Oftentimes,
light show. Working
yeah,
on
this is not
spirit
the love and light show. We
part.
don't do that. I'm glad you say that. That's why I love you so much because I'm so not into that. It's like, love, light, and shadow. Hello. So
Yeah.
oftentimes our intuition is also going to present to us an opportunity to step into an arena where we haven't healed yet so that we can. So our intuition is not only going to steer us into the love and light. That's not what it is.
Yeah.
It's
Bliss,
helping us
bliss has
be
a
more
little blood
human.
in it.
Yeah, there is healing, and healing comes with revisiting our wounds, which comes, again, for us determining how we operate from our shadow selves, from our disowned selves, etc. So intuition may steer you into some dicey places that are meant for you in order for you to get stronger muscles and be a better human. you know, and be, and live a better life for all of us, not just for some,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so Colette, the exercise, I just wanted to make sure we did the exercise you wrote about. Let me grab my glasses. Because
I might have written another one. I've got so many. I don't even know what I
well,
wrote down.
you know, that's the other thing is the intuitive like nature of when you write something. I always go, oh well, that's true. Oh well, that's true. Like,
Right.
you're really hold on, you're really in a state of um you're taking the lead, you're taking the cues of the universe, I feel. And whenever I read your cards, it's like, oh, she wrote that for me. um
Oh, speaking of which, are they getting a card deck in the box?
it's an upgrade. They're getting
An upgrade. Okay,
yeah,
so what did I, which is the, you know, look at this, guys. I mean, woohoo.
yeah,
What did I put in there? Because actually the easiest way to do this is, especially if you upgrade your box, is to pull one card a day and write about it with a cup of tea.
yeah. So you
You know,
wrote,
that's the easiest way to tune into your intuition, is to be able to, it's like going to the gym. I'm going to pull a card. What is spirit reflecting on me? Oh, wow. And then it's not an intellectual exercise. It'll hit you in the heart and in the intuitive realm. You're like, oh,
so a
wow.
one
Okay.
card reading reflection the body has as an intuitive instrument, and a yes no exercise.
So we did the yes, no exercise, which is the true, false.
Yeah,
So did I think I said true, false. That's yes, no. Yes means it's true. If it's a lie, it's false. So that
yeah.
the
So the
yes,
truth is
yeah.
not super
Good.
glamorous, and the lie
Yes.
that high.
Yeah, exactly. So the no feels like a lie,
Yeah.
and the yes feels like a boring true.
A boring epiphany though.
A
Like
boring, a
a
boring, amazing epiphany. But yeah, when I say, yeah, I'm kidding that it's not boring, but it feels like that just is. Like there's nothing else you can say about it. It's true. And it
yeah,
feels like the epiphany is also wisdom that is designed specifically, uniquely to you, that will awaken you. So that's the other thing. An epiphany comes to you as a result also of you constantly taking one step at a time, taking a card a day, for example, and all of a sudden, bam, it's the lightning bolt that opens up. So you get more of them the more you actually practice. And the easiest way is to take one oracle card a day. Just say, what do I need to know today? That's it. Uh,
yes.
and then they'll be like, oh, and then
Oh,
you write.
I just
Mm-hmm.
asked that and I got tender embrace.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And it's true. We need each other.
We do. We
We
do.
need each other, and that's what tender embrace is all about. And I got exchanging gifts, which is what we're doing. Right,
Yes.
that's what I need to know today. And again, we're all emissaries of the divine, and that's what intuition tells us, is that we are here to be present on behalf of something greater.
Oh,
So the the exercise really was more about, okay, does this feel true, or does this feel like a lie?
yeah.
And after the fact, and learning what truth feels like for you in your body. And that's what's going to tell you it's an
That's
intuitive hit.
that's the key. Absolutely. It's somatic for sure for me. Well,
Somatic for everybody.
as usual, just being connected to you and in your presence, I feel expanded, and I feel a deep level of gratitude for all the light you share on your Instagram. I watch your readings, I watch your 11:11s. I watch, like, you just really put a lot of love and a lot of inspiration out into the world. And I know that all of our members are so excited about this box, and it comes with I put in, so okay, so forgive me, I had an intuitive hit, and I
Right.
put in bath salts,
Oh,
beautiful
you did?
oil bath salts into your blend. Yeah, you
Fabulous. We didn't talk. We were like, we were all so
I,
busy. It's like,
we're
what did
all
you do
well,
with
and
the
also I
box?
was kind of last minute, but
So what
I
did you do? Let me see. What is it?
they're women, it's a woman maker in the Midwest, and they're these beautiful essential oil bath salts in
And
this
what's
tube.
in the what's in
Um,
the oil?
I picked my favorite one is a citrus one because it
Nice.
it's an antidepressant. I figure this is coming out in February.
Yes, we
Released in
need it.
October. It's the best scent, and every time I've had a bath with these bath salts, I've had an epiphany.
Have
I
a
get
cup
in
of
the bath
tea.
with my
Hey,
journal and my cup of tea, and I anytime I use this one, I am like, oh my God, that's the title of that, or oh my God, that's the blend. And I always have this aha. So when you get your box, you'll see.
Oh, I'm excited. I love, and I take baths all the time. And
Oh,
the tea, our joint tea that I
oh
have
my
yet
God,
to
I
taste,
cannot
but
wait.
we
Your
talked
box
about
is
how to
ready.
make it.
Your box is
Epiphany.
ready. Absolutely. Okay, everyone. So thank you for joining
Yeah.
us. ColetteBaronReid.com for more. She's actually holding an owl on her website, and it's a real owl. And my 10-year-old daughter Mia is obsessed with her website. She goes to it and looks at it a lot because of the owl.
That's
And
so
I
cute.
always say it's true, Mia. It's a real owl. So,
It
anyways,
is a real owl and scared
yeah.
me.
And so for more information, you can go to ColetteBaronReid.com. You can also find her on Instagram. Her Instagram lives and her daily readings are genius. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining us.